Just yesterday, Zuma's legal team putting in an application to have that judgment rescinded. Can we expect them to enjoy any success?
Well, Hugo, this particular, these applications, it's twofold. The one has been deposed at the Pietermaritzburg High Court, which is seeking to have the arrest of the former president halted pending the outcomes of that rescission application, which is in essence then seeking the Constitutional Court to overturn its own judgment regarding the former president. He cited in his papers his ill health, that he's a 79-year-old male who has to continuously undergo intensive therapy and medical care, and that he's been advised that before actually handing himself over, that he explores one last time then whether or not his constitutional rights have not been violated. He's also said in those papers, Hugo, that on that day, it was the 16th of November 2020, you'll remember when the former president walked out of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, which in essence began then this tit-for-tat legal battle where summons were issued and the State Capture Commission taking this matter to the Constitutional Court, seeking to have the former president be compelled to appear before it. Well, the former president says in his papers that on that particular day, he didn't intend on leaving, but he was actually going to go take medication, and that there seems to have been a miscommunication between himself and his lawyers. The former president also citing his financial constraints, since the state actually pronounced that it would no longer be paying for any of the former president's legal woes. And so, Hugo, whether or not this particular application will be successful, we don't know right now. But what we do know is that it's Section 42 of the Uniforms Act, and I can tell you, Hugo, that this is an unprecedented moment, even within the legal fraternity, to have a Concord judgment, seeking to have a Concord judgment overturned. And so even within, amongst the legal eagles, some of them had to dust off their books to actually really go back and understand what are the circumstances then that would see such a judgment being overturned. One thing I understand is that there'd have to be exceptional circumstances for this to be done, but also according to my understanding of what I've read is that in order for a constitutional judgment, the highest court in the land to be overturned, all parties, which would also then include the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, would have had to have at least agreed that there were some material facts that were incorrectly presented to the courts. So there would have needed to have at least been a mistake that was made in terms of the information presented, and thereby then affecting the judgment thereof. But I tell you what, Hugo, today we're expecting to see a high-level delegation from the ANC NEC, but of course some of these NEC members also wear very important hats, Hugo, within the South African government. I'm talking about Culture Minister Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, Police Minister Bheki Cele. By the way, Cele, Hugo, is a man who was fired by Zuma when he was still president in 2012, and yet Cele is now the man, some few years later, who has been given the responsibility then to arrest Zuma if he doesn't hand himself over 72 hours once those 5 days have lapsed. We're also going to see State Security Minister Ziyanda Ngcobo coming here, as well as her deputy Thabang Makwetla and the Defense Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. So this is a high-level delegation that will be joining KZN Premier Sihle Zikalala and Dumseni Ntuli, trying to seek a political solution. But I tell you what political solution could you find to a constitutional court ruling, which is a separate arm of the state? We're yet to see, Hugo, what's going to happen going forward.